Zach, these people came here to see a video game review. You have seen those on the internet, right? On YouTube? I see you wasting time on those all day long. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the most bizarre game with an unlikely sequel, Deadly Premonition 2, A Blessing in Disguise. I have no idea how this game got a sequel, yet it does exist exclusively on the Nintendo Switch of all things. Now, I played the first Deadly Premonition roughly 7 years ago now, and I don't remember all the details. All I remember is that it is a bizarre game, and the only true game that I can equate to being a bad movie, and that it has bad controls, bad execution, terrible frame rate, and yet it tells a compelling, fascinating story. It has got to be one of those bizarre games I have ever played. And fortunately, the sequel still keeps that classic tone. Fortunately, the game starts off strong, and within the first 5 minutes, I was immediately transported back to the old style of game that I remember from Deadly Premonition. A truly bizarre, charming game filled with references to movies and obscure trivia. What really carries this game is Francis York Morgan and his ability to create surreal, fascinating scenarios. I was once describing this game to a friend as a background weird game. For example, some games have ridiculous premises, but on a surface level. But in the background, they follow the same narrative, story structure, and tropes you'd expect from a normal game. Deadly Premonition is the opposite, where it seems simple enough, an FBI agent solving a murder in a small town. However, it's the way the characters interact and talk to each other that causes the weirdness to occur. This time, it takes place in the past, a few years before the Greenville case, and then links up later in the future with Agent York. Deadly Premonition starts off with a more cel-shaded approach. I'm not sure if it looks better than the original. It is a different approach, but I kind of like both styles, to be honest with you. As for the music, it's not quite as good as the original, which is unfortunate as it really carried it a long way. The skateboarding theme and town theme can get somewhat monotonous, especially after a few hours of playing. A definite improvement to this game is that the navigation between menus and loading screens seems to be much faster than the previous game. Of course, I did have a good chuckle after skateboarding outside and seeing the frame rate drop immediately down to what must have been 15, maybe 10 frames, as the trees in the background started to pop in and load different textures of foliage, and some of them not loading any textures at all. There was literally one tree I found that you can walk right through. That's all part of the charm of this really strange, bizarre experience. As for the gameplay, it's straightforward enough. You shoot certain targets, but you have a lot less variety in this game in terms of weapons. You get only one gun, but you can customize it a lot with different types of ammo. It's a bit excessive as to how many options they give you. The gameplay starts off very promising as it gives you a series of investigations, which allow you to use a sensing ability to find different clues in the area. Unfortunately, this actually doesn't really happen too many times throughout the game. The game is divided into investigations, open world, and the dungeon, which unfortunately seems to be the same dungeon, just copy-pasted over and over again with slightly different hallways and enemy placement. Fortunately in this game, they actually implemented a fast travel system, which is honestly a godsend. There are also some bizarre minigames, like skipping stones and bowling, which actually are quite addictive. The story and the absolutely bizarre twists and turns it gives are just as good, if not better in little places, than the original game, and again delivers an absolutely bizarre yet satisfying and epic final boss. If you like the original, you definitely need to check this out and pick it up and support the absolute madman who makes this metaphysical roller coaster fruitcake ride. bizarre dialogue, movie trivia, huge plot twists in the story, laughably bad game optimization, all make Deadly Premonition the bizarre gem it always has been, and this sequel is no exception. I could tell you to play it, but honestly, I think you should just ask Zach.